Conference. We're going to build the best football program in the SEC Conference.
You have now arrived at Stadium in Gale.
The kick, it's been blocked again! How about it? It's been blocked again! It's going to heat one deep down the field. It's going to be to the goal line. It's going to be gone! It's a touchdown! And the Gators have won the game! Tyreek Cleveland! How about it? I can't believe what I just saw! Dropping back to throw. Pops and fires the ball over the middle. It's Dory! It's Dory! Got a touchdown! Dory's got a touchdown! Oh, man! Dory's got a touchdown!
Ahmad Black, in his final game as a Gator, takes it all the way home and sends Urban out the winner.
You have now arrived at Stadium in Gale.
Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Stadium Miguel. It's your boy Corey.
It's Dan.
And Delatorre.
Same corner, new time. Each and every Monday evening, we are kicking it right here on YouTube. Catch us on Spotify, iTunes, everywhere else a little later tomorrow morning. But
Good morning.
Brethren, how y'all doing?
Good, brother. Good. We're going live against 212,000 people watching Elon Musk and Donald Trump talk right now. So you chose the right place to be right now.
Tough competition, man. Tough competition.
It's good to have you guys. How's your weekend?
Beautiful for the most part, man. Got some scrimmage updates. Back to school shopping. So that took up my entire weekend getting the kids prepped for school. My daughter's senior year, son going into 7th grade. Didn't get to do the bus loop or the car loop drop off. I think those days are over, man. My son went right there to bike to school. But no, successful weekend. Summer's over. Now I get my days back.
I need to know the full story about if you are unaware, Corey posted a photo of Harlem riding his bike to his school today. What you'll notice is a really cool bike, but also a full can of Pringles in the side of the backpack.
Yeah.
We got to know the story.
Bro, I didn't even realize he took the whole can. I know my daughter's going to be hot when she realized that the whole can of salt and vinegar Pringles was going. But in the morning, I asked him, I said, are you packing your lunch today? He said, no, I'm eating school lunch. So I was like, okay, this is new for him. You know, he's stepping out in new territory, but he's packing this school lunch. So didn't pay attention to any lunchbox or anything like that. Didn't see one get packed. Now that I take the picture, he's riding off. I look at the picture like, man, that's a whole can of Pringles in the cup holder on the backpack. So very good, man. And the whole can was gone by the time he got home. I'm pretty sure he shared it with his homeboys and whatnot on campus. But the whole can was gone, man.
Low key, smart move.
First day vibes.
Show up to the first day of middle school. Show up with a can of salt and vinegar and Pringles.
And say goodbye a little bit.
You're gonna make some friends.
Yeah.
That's how you get your political capital. That's one chip I can't get into. I can't get into salt and vinegar. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate. I get a lot of hate already. That's why I wore a hat today. Try to limit sections of YouTube. But that's just the one chip I cannot get into. As you can tell, I eat my fair share of chips by looking at me, and that's not one that I can get behind.
Salt vinegar is a solid chip, man. I'm going to be honest with you. It's probably my top 5 chip.
Tortilla chips.
Tortilla is solid. You can't go wrong. Now, do you have to have the scoop or you do like the flat chip? Like, what's your bag?
I think it's an equal opportunity.
Yeah, tortilla. I'm not super big on chips. And don't like really barbecue chips. It's probably a hot take. But like a bag of like Tostitos, it's in danger.
I like the scoop because you can get more salsa.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. Big tortilla chip guy. I'm a salt and pepper. Those are always great. A good old fashioned sea salt. Hook it up. Maybe a sour cream and cheddar chip.
That's solid. Can't go wrong with that. More of a kettle chip, my guy. I got a kettle chip. Yeah, but I'll go salt and vinegar is not my favorite chip, but it's definitely my top. Tortillas up there. That's interesting. Trying to think who else. I like Dan said, the salt and pepper. Man, it's tough.
There's a lot of chips out there, you know.
Yeah, it's a tough decision, man. And a lot of mine are like mesquite. I think is one of those flavors that I like as well.
Barbecue, yeah.
Already.
All right. Well,
This weekend had a fantasy football draft. Was in Dan's neck of the woods for like 18 hours.
yeah.
Real nice place in Indian Rocks, Tampa. Had the scrimmage Saturday as well. And then today, Monday morning, had I think we're at the point of pregnancy where we have like weekly OB visits. So I had an OB visit today. Have a last ultrasound Thursday. Go time's coming.
It's go time, baby. Enjoy.
Go time.
Get that sleep in, brother. It's about to be over.
Wore my girl dad hat today just for it.
You just never know.
Close. We're getting close.
You should just wear it all the time. That way, whenever the call finally comes, you can be on your way and everybody will know.
Keep it in the glove box, man. How's the wife doing? She's handling it well. She's chill.
Handling it well. I'm telling you, I think she figured it out around 3 months pregnant that like, oh, I'm going to be pregnant and the biggest I've ever been at the hottest time of the year.
Yeah.
She is making it through it. She is, like I said, I think I've said this before. She is get this baby out of me weeks along.
Okay.
Ready to not be pregnant, I think. But we're excited.
Yes,
baby's healthy. Baby's healthy. Mom's healthy. Dad's just along for the ride.
Potting 3 times in 1 week, you know?
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you guys for listening. We got a lot to talk about. Silk, we're going to do a Brunt ad read here in a second. Appreciate everybody that's watching. I know that there's a lot of competition right now for your eyeballs and your ears, so we appreciate you joining us. Right now, we are going to break down everything that you want to know about practice and the scrimmage. But before we do that, Corey, if you could hit us with our Brunt ad read.
Y'all already know the vibes. One time for the great folks at Brunt Insurance and Financial Services. Anything you need insured, for sure, from the Panhandle to the Keys. But he does hit other states in the Southeast. If you need a home, auto, RV, boat, or even your life insured, hit my man Greg up at 954-589-2204. The quote is absolutely free. Give him a call, see if he can match or beat the insurance you got right now. And don't cost you a dime, and it helps support us. One time for Brunt Insurance Financial Services.
Before we get into practice, I do want to give a quick shout out because we've had his dad on the show many, many times. We actually talked to him about potentially playing his son playing football at the University of Florida, but CJ Ingram, who is, I believe, the number 29 ranked recruit for the class of 2025 in basketball, committed to the University of Florida. So don't know of any intention to play football as well. I would imagine that's probably not in the plans, but congratulations to CJ Ingram for committing to the University of Florida. Guy that obviously is very much deserving of the accolades that he's getting, not just following in his father's footsteps, but a very well-deserved opportunity to play for Todd Golden in the Florida Gators basketball program.
Very nice.
All right, yeah.
Football field.
We kind of got that vibe from when we had CI on, or at least I got the vibe that like he's not pushing his son either way, one way or the other. But it seemed like he got the feeling that his son enjoyed basketball more, like played football because he was good at it and they had success, but that basketball was kind of his bag. So awesome.
Seems like I got that feel from Ingram as well. Like CI himself felt that way, but when he got on campus, I think he like started to gravitate towards football a little bit more.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, guys, let's get into the spring practice over the last couple of days, as well as the scrimmage that took place on Saturday. I guess the big news coming out of that, and we'll break down all the other stuff that you want to hear. But nose tackle Jamari Lyons is going to be out for the season with an ankle injury. So, Nick, if you could give us kind of an update on that, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, it happened really early on in the scrimmage. And one of those injuries that, like, it happens and the player's reaction to it kind of lets everyone around him know how serious it is. Because sometimes, you pop an ACL and you think you're okay. Go get checked out. A broken bone that requires surgery same day. And the reaction that Jamari had and kind of after the year he had, obviously his season ended really poorly last year, getting kicked out of that FSU game, but he had a great spring. He had a great fall. And to me, he wasn't going to start over Cam Jackson, But I think those guys at the end of the year would have had pretty near even snap splits. As a backup nose tackle, he was also playing, a little end for them as well. So to me, it hurts Florida's depth. Now you have Desmond Watson. I think I'd said before on the show, I liked Florida's depth because I didn't think you had a superstar on the defensive line, but I thought you were 3 deep at every position. You only had to tell a guy, hey, I need you for 25 snaps. Give me your all for 25 snaps. Go full go. You don't have to hold anything out in the tank. It's not going to be like Gervon Dexter against Utah in 22 when he had to play 68 snaps at 300 pounds, which is crazy. This hurts that. And I think you got to find some other ways. Is that Joey Slackman? Is that Tavoris Brown who just came in? How do you figure out to distribute those snaps? Because I don't think you then want to now be like, all right, Cam, you're going to have to play 40. Des, I think Florida averaged 66 snaps on defense last year.
Yeah.
You're not going to ask Cam to play 45, 40 snaps a game and ask, Des Watson now to play 25, 30 snaps a game or whatever the case may be. So it hurts Florida. This really hurts for depth. And I feel bad for Jamari because his season ended on a sour note for him last year. And I think he had been doing all of the right things to become kind of a strong voice in the locker room and in the defensive line room. And everything I'd heard about him is that he was making all of the right decisions, all the right steps, all the right moves heading into this year to kind of show everyone what he could do. So just tough. And it seems it's almost like, I don't know if you can hear that knocking on wood here, but like Florida's last 3 scrimmages in fall camp have ended with 3 or have had a season-ending injury in each one of them. They have another scrimmage on Saturday that you hope you get through healthy.
Yeah, you just got to keep camp physical. It's just a physical game. Unfortunately, you lose guys, man. These aren't like just strength and conditioning injuries, in my opinion. These are just like unfortunate things that are happening even with Cam Carroll last year, and also keep forgetting our defensive end name that got injured, man. I don't know why I keep doing Justice Boone as well. Like those are just unfortunate circumstances, but we have to where we at depth chart wise with Slackman?
Slackman was not playing that same position, so he was backing up Caleb Banks, which would be next to Cam. Right. But if you're just trying to look at body wise, I think Slackman, at 6'4", 300 would kind of be a guy. Today,
I would rather slide him than Tyreek. I know that Tyreek name was mentioned. I wasn't a big fan of Tyreek Sapp moving.
He's not a nose. He played a couple nose snaps last year because he had to, but it's a guy who's 6'3", 260. Today, Billy Napier mentioned Joey Slackman, Caleb Banks, Kelby Collins, Ryan Taylor, DeAndre Robinson, Tavoris Brown. All of those guys are playing defensive end. But you're going to have to figure out who can play both, who can cross-train, who can play both. Like Mekhi Barrow is another guy, but I'll tell you this, Mekhi Barrow drove a car at 350 pounds, drove a car 150 miles an hour in Georgia, got a speeding ticket. And I will tell you what, it looks like he has been running every morning since because he has lost a ton of weight. And I don't know if he's a guy as a freshman, maybe at a lower weight now, but as a freshman, is he a guy you're going to trust to play 15, 25 snaps? I'm not sure, but he was someone today as a guy who's playing that position who might have to step up and who might get more opportunity now.
Yeah, it's tough for a freshman to step up and do, especially not a super highly touted guy. That I think that was somebody that probably was expected to have a year or two of development before you expected to see much out of him. So certainly a position that you don't want to see, especially after all of the excitement going in to the season about the defensive line. And we even talked about Jamari Lyons more than we talked about Kelby Collins, who we kind of missed last week in our rundown of the defensive line. So definitely a tough injury, obviously not a starter, but still somebody that's going to get meaningful playing time. And you just kind of see yourself hoping that there's not another injury. And that's just a very physical position where there's maybe a higher likelihood than some other positions on the field.
I mean, it was a broken bone too. It's I'm still, I haven't really seen anyone Maybe I'm making a problem out of nothing because I haven't seen anyone saying it, but like it's not even like a strength and conditioning training regimen problem. It's just a broken bone. Like you said, it's a physical game.
Mm-hmm.
Broken bones happen. It's just unfortunate.
Just tough luck. I mean, they got to figure it out. This is a part of football. Attrition's a part of football.
Mm-hmm.
The depth chart was exactly that before. It's unfortunate that we having it this early, some attrition before the games even get played. But, I mean, the roster was the roster before fall camp started, So preparation-wise, they got to have contingencies in place to be able to adjust.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind seeing Slackman move inside to get some reps, but then I don't know how that shifts with the rest of the entire defensive line and it snaps at other positions, but they have to adjust. Everything starts up front. Cam Jackson isn't a guy that can do a whole lot of reps. When his reps went up last year, you could start seeing him stand up a lot and lose leverage, and you can see the production drop. So they got to put somebody to keep him fresh in the fall because it's hot out there, bro. He's a big guy.
Just moved to a 3-3-5 defense, right?
I like the linebacker. One thing that I was told from somebody that was there is, at some point you get Miles Graham and Aaron Childs on the field playing linebacker together during the
3-4.
And I imagine, Austin Armstrong is just sitting there going, "We did it." Like that's going to be the future. I would expect Shamar James, outside of an unexpected bad year, to this probably be his last year in college. Testing. So like you're getting your first glimpse at your future linebacker core for the first time because Aaron Childs wasn't on campus and Miles Graham only went through 3 practices before the back surgery. So this is really the first time you're getting it in a full tackling situation, the future of Florida's linebacking core with 5 and 8 on the field at the same time.
What were the linebackers in scrimmage? Do you know who the starting linebackers were?
Yeah, Pup and well, I mean, you're gonna get it's gonna be tough, and it'll probably depend on the packages. I think in my mind, the guys who will play the most are Shamar James and Pup Howard. You might get you're gonna get Derek Wingo. He's going to play. I think you're going to get Miles Graham some reps. You're going to get Aaron Childs some reps. You're going to see RJ Moten on the field. They really like him. They think he's super athletic and can bring something to that position. Specifically, I think in their mind in pass coverage, I know as a safety moving down, they think a little more athleticism. He's also big, one of the strongest guys on the team. He was the reigning.
Did you like his tackling last year at safety?
He barely played last year. I think he had a blown coverage against Utah, and then that was a wrap. It was Jordan Castell.
I remember seeing him get reps last year. Didn't do the greatest at running down and then being physical in the tackling department. I like to see what his snap count was, but interesting move. What's up?
I said I'm pulling it up while you talk.
Nick, has the coaching staff mentioned playing Jamarcus Weston at the defensive tackle position?
Watch out, man. I'm trying to have this is a serious podcast, Dan. Why are you playing around, man?
That's
your mom's bench 350, so you might want to check her ability.
One of your edges.
Just trying to throw around other options, Nick.
RJ Moten played 95 snaps last year on defense.
So like 7.5 a game, give or take.
He missed 4 tackles.
Come on.
Missed 40% of his tackle attempts, according to Pro Football Focus.
Okay.
He had 5 tackles. He assisted on 1, and he missed 4.
I don't like that ratio.
Had a 28.4 tackling grade, according to Pro Football Focus last year.
Yeah, I got a good eye for safeties that can move to linebacker. I don't know if he's one of those guys. I'd rather live and die with the true freshman in that spot. Hopefully he plays well, but that's just like my prognosis of the situation a little bit. I don't know if Moten's the guy that I would like to see in that situation, but the defensive tackles keep bodies off the linebackers.
Yeah,
let those guys roam free a little bit. So it's up front just matters to make everything go. So defensive tackle, they got to figure it out. I do like the starter in Cam Jackson. And I also like Big Dez, but they just two heavier guys. They catch Dez on the field and they go no huddle, and then we got a problem. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So unfortunate for Jamari. Certainly our thoughts and prayers go to him. Hopefully there's no complications with his recovery and he comes back quickly. So it's a next man up sport. So we'll see who that next man is and what that looks like. Let's get to the offensive side of the football. Nick, what were the highs? And we'll just do the highs and we can talk about the lows after.
I think the highs were probably the receiver room. Soaked through me under the bus, talking about Tank getting 2 touchdowns. I think Florida comes out of the scrimmage feeling good about the running backs. You're building depth right now without Montrell in there. So it's always too, you're in spring, whenever you're in camp, spring, fall, any kind of scrimmage, if someone's doing something well, then, what happened on the other side? But I think, from talking to sources that they really liked what Tryon Webb did. Keep hearing things about Jacoby Jackson. I still think it'll be Jaden Ball, but continue to hear Jacoby Jackson's name. But it seemed like Florida's talent at the running back, in the running back spot, even without Montrell, was fine. Trey Wilson was Trey Wilson. He's been sort of uncoverable this fall, and I think that's kind of what we expect. Marcus Burke, Aiden Mazzell have made plays. I think we're seeing Elijah Badger probably get up to speed more. A veteran player, but still new location, new playbook, new team, new schemes. I think Graham was sharp. DJ's looking better. I wrote something today about, I think it's huge for DJ's development, the new sideline to helmet communication, the way you can call plays in, because you can start talking to your quarterback as soon as the ball is spotted, and you can go till 15 seconds left. So you got a 40-second clock. You've got 25 seconds to talk to your quarterback. Play call might take 3-4 seconds to get it in. And then you can kind of walk and coach your quarterback, your freshman quarterback, through a play, through progressions. Hey, this is what we think they're gonna show you, yada yada. And I think that's been huge for DJ, and that's something that they're Florida's done a ton of work with, starting in the spring and into the fall. And then I think defensively, I think the tackling was okay. Billy Napier said 20 missed tackles in 122 snaps, but we don't know what's the breakdown. And are you getting fourth string walk-on cornerbacks missing tackles, and that's 20. It also was 122 snaps each side. So you're talking about a ton of snaps, 20 missed tackles. And I think if tackling was an issue, Billy would have just called it out. Yeah. And I keep hearing great things about Asa Turner. I think he's going to be a huge, huge weapon for Florida. And I mentioned that not just because I think he's a really good player, but because last year, you're talking about a guy like Jason Marshall who doesn't have the season we thought he would have. I went back and looked at it. He gave up a long touchdown where you get beat, but then you don't have a safety to help you. Now it's a 75-yard touchdown against Utah. 2 weeks later, you give up two touchdowns. One of them is an 85-yarder. Where's my safety behind me? Well, the safety behind you was a true freshman, Jordan Castell, making his second start and playing in his first college game against Utah. And next to him was Miguel Mitchell, who was third on the team in missed tackles as a true sophomore. Then they replaced Miguel Mitchell with another true freshman. So I think just having a guy in Asa Turner who is a solid tackler, physical tackler, and somebody who has played over 1,200 college snaps and played in a national championship game, started a national championship game last year, is just a big confidence boost to the cornerbacks that let them, hey, if I can try for an interception, or I can lay out for something, or I can go and try to make this play because I know someone's going to be behind me to clean it up if I can't make that play. Whereas last year you start playing timid because if a guy gets past me, I don't know that the guys behind me are going to stop it. And it might just be a touchdown.
Let me ask you a question, Nick. You want to walk back on that Tank Hawkins tape? No,
because it's not that I'm saying Tank's bad. I just think there's too many guys ahead of him.
Just
how many snaps do you think Tank is going to get a week and
enough
how
not
many.
the red shirt, I think, right? I think he plays
Okay.
enough.
I think he's going to play special teams too, so I don't know that he would redshirt. I would say I think I said he's more likely to redshirt than TJ Abrams because I think Tank can play on all 4 special teams. I think he can be a returner. I think he can be a gunner. But as a receiver, I think I was just more talking about receiver. I just think there's too many guys ahead of him. Where is he getting? I don't think he gets 10 snaps on an offensive game.
A game?
A game.
Could be a lot. Yeah.
10 snaps on offense. And it's like, okay, if you're going to get less than 100 snaps in a season, what impact can you make? Maybe you can, but I'm just not betting on that. Like you're taking 2 of your 5 snaps a game, making huge impacts on those 2 plays.
Yeah, I think you just got to give him at least 2-3 targets a game. I like him and Caden Daniels in both of those same roles. It's like 2 of your most explosive guys that can just, score. If we're not going to be stretching the field and we're not going vertical, until we do that, I got to see it for me to believe it. If we're not going vertical, you got to have guys that can be able to just, make explosive plays at the line of scrimmage or with short yardage things. And I just think he's one of those guys. It's hard. After watching him at IMG, bro, it's really tough, to game plan without trying to get him a couple touches.
He's electric, but to me is who are you taking off the field to get him on? Because you're not going 5 wide empty.
No, but in certain scenarios, because Elijah Badger and Trey are probably going to be on the field a lot together. So if there's a scenario where you're giving Badger a breather, you're giving even Trey Wilson a breather. He's a good guy to come in, and the defense is not focused on him like they would be focused on the Trey, and you probably just sneak something off. That's just how I gauge it. But I think Caden Daniels is another guy that's explosive like that. Billy spoke about him at the presser, but I know the running back room is loaded, and it's going to be the same type of conversation. Like, how do you find the snaps to get him the ball? But he's just too explosive not to give him at least a few touches a game, because even if it's Wildcat, he did a lot of that in high school. But he's a guy where you got to get him some touches. I think he's special.
That's just a role I think you would give to Eugene and not Tank. I think you would just give that the stuff that you're saying. I think, hey, yeah, we're doing that with 3. Like we're doing that with Eugene Wilson. And I'm only taking Eugene Wilson off the field when he taps his helmet and he needs a sip of Gatorade. And as soon as that sip is done, hey, you're back on the field. So that to me is just like, I just don't know where the opportunities come because to me, you're taking off DK, Khalil, Andy Jean, Eugene Wilson, Aiden Mizell.
TJ Abrams, maybe.
There's 6
I think
guys.
they're all fighting for snaps right now.
Yeah, but there's 6 guys easy where I'm having a hard time to take them out. And I think Tank is an explosive player and will be a good player. I just think there's older guys with more experience ahead of him. That was it. I wasn't trying to say they missed on Tank at all.
Yeah, give you a hard time. You say don't expect him to play a lot, and then he went crazy in the scrimmage. I was like, yeah, this is good for Nick right here.
Bad day to be me.
Nick, what kind of running back? I mean, we haven't talked much about Jacoby Jackson at all on this show. I think we talked about when he committed. We didn't really talk much about him last week other than mentioning his name because there's been some clips about him out there. What kind of running back is he? If you're unfamiliar, JUCO guy that transferred in, 5'10.5", 209 pounds, obviously a bigger guy, not going to be your speedster. Redshirted last year, was on the SEC first team academic honor roll. So congratulations to him. But Nick, what kind of running back is he? And what kind of impact do you think he might actually have? Not just spot.
Yeah. If you go back to his high school film, playmaker, really runs the ball hard. I think he can catch it a little bit as well. Haven't seen him too much in pass pro. Everything we're hearing is basically that Montrell's the starter, Tryon Webb is the clear 2, and then it's a battle between Jacoby, Jaden, and KD for reps and third snaps. And then it goes back to kind of like what I've been saying on the pod, like what are the reps? What's the rep breakdown? What's that pie chart look like? How much, if a healthy Montrell's there, how much of the pie does he take? And then what's left? 4, 2, 3, and maybe even a 4th running back, 5th running back. Yeah. But I think to me, it's the fact that we're here on Monday, August 12th, talking about Jacoby Jackson being a part of the pie, I think is a testament to what he's done in the spring and in the fall. because especially after the spring game Jaden Baugh has, my guy's out there in just no flair, to steal a term from the movie Waiting and Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
No armbands, no gloves, no tape, just out there, naked arms, no socks, just running around like he's playing football in the 1950s.
Did you say no gloves?
No gloves. Haven't seen him wear a pair of gloves since he's been on campus.
Man, they need to tape his fingers, but other than that,
I feel real good about that running back room, though. Like,
yeah.
I don't think we missed a beat with Montreal even out, man. I just think there's a lot of talent back there. Would like to hear more from Webb, though. Seeing some couple highlights of him, flashes of him on the content that the football program put out, but not hearing a whole lot of hype as far as explosive plays. He could be our consistent guy, get you 4 or 5 yard carry type dude, but these young boys, you're starting to hear even with Kanan Daniels, Jacoby Jackson, Jaden Ball, you're starting to hear explosive, and he could possibly lose some snaps if he's not as explosive. So I do want to hear his activity pick up a little bit, or his production pick up in camp.
just a quick Nick fact
West,
check. Yeah, that's an Office Space line, not a
great movie. Where's my stapler?
Yeah, not waiting. Yeah, no, I'm very curious, right? Like, I think we talk a lot about talent in that room. There's some young guys. Obviously, there's a gap with Montreal right now. Curious to see the progression of Tryon, Webb. Obviously, want to see what Katie, Baugh, and Jacoby Jackson have done or will do. Obviously, none have played a collegiate FBS snap. Jacoby Jackson has a couple years from community college. I think he actually had 3 years in community college, if I'm reading this right, with the COVID year in there. Yeah, 2020, 21, and 22. So very curious to see how that group shapes up when the games start, right? Like, Corey, I totally agree. I think there's some talent in that room, but I'm just curious to see how that transitions into game 1, game 2, game 3, because even if Montreal's back, is Montreal back at 100? Is Montreal back at 90? What does that look like? What does his rep load look like? Because even if he's healthy, you're probably not going to give him 20 snaps in game 1 on his first game back, right? Because there's conditioning, there's feel, there's some other things. So you're definitely going to need, one of those guys or a couple of those guys to step up, because the Gators averaged, just pulled it up here, 31 or 35.1 runs a game last year. So there's going to be a big onus on the rest of those guys to pick up the slack. So I'm very curious to see how that works out.
Yeah, and I think with the explosiveness or seeing the guys with the ability to break off big ones, it's going to be, important because of our O-line play. So if the O-line isn't making gaping holes, what made ETN special was being able to make that first guy miss and turn nothing into something a lot of times, right? So I don't know if Webb has that type of talent in him. I think he's more of a downhill runner that needs more room to get busy. And we'll see what the freshmen or the guys that with Jacoby Jackson, we'll see what they could bring to the table. But from what I've seen from Webb, he seems more like a guy that needs room to get busy and to get his wheels rolling to get those yards that we're looking for to move the sticks.
Yeah, you really only saw – so he played Tryon Webb, just to give you guys a reminder, rushed for 26 attempts, 163 yards, but 141 of those came against McNeese State and Vanderbilt. He had 2 total touchdowns. Those were both against McNeese State rushing the ball. He did have just a couple catches, so that doesn't really matter. So very interested to see what he does. He did not play the last 4 games of the season, or did not record a stat the last 4 games of the season. So 6.27 yards per game, or yards per attempt, but against Vanderbilt averaged 17.5. So again, there's going to be a huge workload difference for him in what he looks like this upcoming season. And Nick, obviously, we have Mertz, Lagway, both of them performed well from what you've heard.
Yeah, and I think everything to be expected with Graham. It's hard, and we've seen some like bad passing when we've been out there for practice. But like I always say, we're out there for 15 minutes, individual drills. There was one day
at the beginning too, right?
Right at the beginning of practice. Yeah, it's the first thing that is really. they do stretch, and then they go into a quick, like tempo team period right before we get out there, and then they go into individual drills. And I remember not writing or saying that, like, hey, I thought the quarterbacks looked bad today, and then right after, like an hour after practice ends, they put on the timeline that dime that Graham threw to Wilson. So, like, there's times where, like, I'm like, I'm not gonna put this out there because I think it will just rile up the timeline, and we're seeing
what happens when we rile up the timeline.
We're seeing but we're seeing such a small window that I'm like, listen, a lot of times when we're writing off of practice, I'm having to call 5 people, 10 people to talk to people who were there for the full practice.
Yeah.
To get an educated opinion. We're not just firing Ghostbusters. We're not at least me, I'm not going to formulate, the opinions that I'm writing about or saying on our show based on 15 minutes of Graham Mertz and DJ Lagway thrown on air.
Yeah, and I think that's probably an important point just to make overall, right, is you're getting opinions of people that could be watching that group the whole time, may have watched part of that time, may have seen just part of a particular practice, part of a particular scrimmage. So I think that all goes into everything that you hear in social media right now, or on articles when people are overly hyping or being critical of a certain position group, is that you're only really as good as the sources that you have, and you're only as good as the source's vision and memorability or memory of that particular group or event that happened to. So a lot of people on the internet were freaking out yesterday. Fascinating to watch. I mean, I'm like, I guess football season's back, but Gator fans are riding this roller coaster. I think the big thing there to remember is, like, hey, you got to take everything with, at least a couple grains of salt in any situation you read about practice and scrimmages, because none of these guys are there for the full amount of time either.
And like peeling the curtain back a little bit too. So you might hear something, and if I'm saying something, it's not like I've heard it from one person. You know what I mean? I'm not like, oh, someone told me this, because you don't know. Maybe that person has an axe to grind. Maybe it's a parent and their kid's playing behind somebody, and they don't want, they're mad. You're talking to a disgruntled parent or a disgruntled player or something like that.
But what if they're using the media to incite some fire under their butt too? You know what I mean?
That's what I'm here for. Running the tabloids.
Yeah, the
hoopla. Y'all smash that like button. Shout out my guy.
Hey, Corey, before you go ahead with your hoopla, and then we'll
everybody hoopla.
Yeah.
One time for the hoopla. Most of the ruckus was about offensive line. Read a few things on 3 center, the right side struggle. Who was on the right side, and
let's do a quick ad read just because of time constraints here. Before we do that, because I think the offensive line discussion is going to go on for a little while here. 2 quick ads. One is they're not a paid sponsor of this program, but I want to give a shout out to Zach Brust, who's a former walk-on kicker for the Gators. He started a new sock company called Del Campo Socks. Corey, I believe you got some. Nick, you got some. Really cool golf socks here with the Gator Golf logo, the UF logo, and the smiley face logo. So we're going to get Zach on the show. We're going to talk a little bit more about him creating this company. So, but go give them delcampogolf.com, I believe. Yep. Del Campo, so it's DELCAMPOGOLF.com. They also do custom logo socks. And if you are a store owner and you want to sell them, they do that as well. So delcampogolf.com.
Hit me up. I tried on the they gave me like just a regular pair that didn't have the Gator stuff on it, and I wanted to try them on. No, they're just like blue lines. I would love the smiley face one though, but they are incredibly comfortable. I ended up wearing them this weekend. I might give away the 2 Gator ones. I have one that has the fast italic F, and then one that has the swinging Gator on it. So I'm gonna figure out a way to give those away to a Gator fan. But
I say maybe we do that, because I'll be part with a pair as well. So what if we
the pair that I wore are going on to OnlyFans, and we'll sell those. Sell those for more.
Yeah, we can do that too. I'm open to anything. So
game worn socks by Nick Delatorre, man, on the way.
Love it. Let's give a quick shout out to our friends over at Home Field Apparel. They're paying the bills here. Homefieldapparel.com, promo code Stadium and Gale at checkout, 15% off of your order. They just released 2 new platinum boxes that they have. The boxes have 3 shirts and 4 shirts respectively. They are very quality, so they are a little more expensive than you might think, but you use that promo code, you get 15% off of your order. A lot of new stuff popping off for them with football season just around the corner, so they always do a big push around football season for new apparel and then basketball season as well. So go check them out, homefieldapparel.com. Promo code Stadium and Gale will get you 15% off of your order. All right, Nick. Corey, sorry to interrupt you, man. It's just,
No, you're good, brother. Good.
Yeah. All right. So offensive line, obviously a topic of discussion this weekend online. Obviously been a topic of discussion for the University of Florida since 2000. What do you think? 11, 12,
8, 9
Council's left.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was discussions about the offensive line when I was in college. I guess everybody always complains about the offensive line, but for a long time, for the better part of a decade or more, the offensive line has been a concern at the University of Florida. The Gators go out, grab a couple transfers in the offensive line, recruit a couple guys that are, more highly rated than some of the other offensive linemen they've gotten over the years. We talked about that on the show last week, right? That the left side was a lot stronger than the right side, just in terms of overall strength of their ability to play the position. There are some concerns on the right side. So, Nick, what is your take from what you're hearing?
My take hasn't changed. Like I've said in our show, I sat here in November screaming from the mountaintops, Florida needs to go and get a veteran starting guard in the offensive or in the portal. And I said, you're not shopping at Neiman Marcus in the transfer portal. Everyone's got you're shopping at, buying dinged cans for a discount at times. They got Brandon Crenshaw Dixon, they got Devon Emanuel. I've literally heard nothing about Devon Emanuel. Not positive good or negative, just not talked about. Brandon Crenshaw Dixon is your right now starter at right tackle. They tried to move Damian George inside when I was like inside and we spent a couple of days with a strength and conditioning coach. They were raving about Damian George. And I've consistently said, like, hey, listen, this is where I disagree with Florida's coaching staff the biggest. This is the biggest separation I have with their staff. They keep saying the offense line is better. It's going to be a strength. They're deeper. And I said, I don't believe it. They signed 5 guys, I think, this offseason, including Zandamela. And I think they believe they hit on those guys. And even if I believe that, that's good. But how much are you depending on a freshman offensive lineman to come in and play meaningful reps? And there's a reason. Well, everyone likes to throw, Laramie Tunsil at me and throw, the 3 guys who have done it in the SEC over the last decade. And they're outliers because it's a developmental position and it's really hard to come in and do that right away. I had a Mountain West coach, I was talking to ask about Brandon Crenshaw Dixon because the guy had coached against him and he questioned their take. And I said, oh, well, I haven't seen him play. I'll have to see him play. And I questioned Damian George. Would he be able to change his body enough and be strong enough to handle the nose tackles and defensive tackles that you're playing inside? And I just don't think Florida's right side of the line is settled. And we're sitting here 19 days before a game. They wear hats that say 5=1. We gave them the excuse last year of, well, they didn't have any continuity and they didn't have chemistry because they didn't have continuity. And you have to have chemistry and continuity on the offensive line. And we're sitting here now 19 days before a game and you're moving Rod Kearney over to right guard to see if he can play. And you're moving Cam Waits back out to tackle to see if he can play. That movement tells me that you haven't figured anything out yet on that side of the ball. I expect Austin Barber to play better as long as he can stay healthy. I think he was much more injured than we knew last year, which caused his play to suffer. I like Najee Harris, but it's going to be a redshirt or a sophomore. He didn't redshirt. He's going to be a sophomore starting his first time. There's probably going to be some growing pains, but I think he's going to be a really good player. I think you found a guy in Jake Slaughter And then at right guard, right tackle, I just don't know what they're going to do. I think they're hoping for somebody to step up, maybe a Caden Jones, Cameron Waits at right tackle, maybe Najee Harris or Bryce Lovett at right guard. I just don't think and haven't thought that right side of the line was settled. And listen, I could still be wrong. And if the line plays great and we're sitting here in October, I'll tell you I was wrong. I just, I've stayed on the same line where this is what Florida's saying. This is what I think. And it's the farthest I'm apart from the coaching staff in our opinions of a position group.
Why didn't you guys ask him about the offensive line today? I know you only asked one question probably, but it seems to be a topic of everybody's. What? I didn't watch the press conference. I just was basing that off of what I've normally heard. I don't watch a lot, to be honest with you. It's good bedtime. it's good to listen to before bed. But why isn't the topic of offensive line? Are you guys probably not going to get a straight answer, or is it just
I think
progress? Everybody's trying hard. They're busting their butts. They're competing. Coach speak.
Yeah, no, I asked about so I saw Rod Kearney when I was watching the offensive line at one of the 15-minute open portions, and I questioned them moving him to center last year because he was a very good guard. And they moved Najee was a center in high school, Kearney was a guard in high school, and they get to campus and they switch positions for both guys. I think with Rod, you have a guy in Jake Slaughter who's a redshirt junior, could be back here next year. And you've got probably the future in Jason Zandamela at center. So now it makes more sense. Like, hey, we don't need Rod Kearney just to be – and Zandamela might redshirt and Rod Kearney can still be your backup, but he could be your backup center who's also your starting right guard. I think in a press conference setting, it might get to a point where we have to ask, but we're going to get better information to report by talking to sources than to ask Billy in front of a camera. Hey, does the right side of your offensive line suck? And how do you even word that question?
Well, you don't use it to suck.
Right.
I mean, it was just I don't want to tell them about how to do their job, but it was a scrimmage, and you could just ask him how did the line fare in the scrimmage. I think would have been a decent question for him to get, somewhat honest or hold him accountable to the progression, because that's just been a ongoing problem. I mean, you're 3 years in. Everybody can see what the recruiting has been at the position. We're talking about grabbing guys in the portal, but 3 years in, you should have your guys that you develop at the position to be able to step in. The portal should just be supplemental. And they haven't been able to recruit at the high school level to get the talent in to be able to develop to be sufficient. Like Cam Waits, regards to injury, he hasn't developed. Bring them over from Louisiana, Lafayette, whatever the school they was at, bro.
Louisiana, I think, these days.
Yeah, whatever they want to call it. Bringing him over, size look promising, athleticism look promising, but he hasn't developed at all at guard or tackle. You have Kearney, you have Lovett, you have guys that you recruited, but you haven't brought in any guys, and you're paying an offensive coordinator who's also the offensive line coach. You got two at the position, and they're not putting it together. That room is holding the whole team back. So it's just no excuses to whatever product they put out there this year. They haven't recruited well at the position. They haven't developed well at the position as of now, right? Like you said, we could go out there and maybe they put together a good product, but as we know it right now, they haven't been able to get it together at that position. So there's just no excuses,
So then why was the expectation at a place where when you hear, hey, the offensive line, especially the right side, might be struggling, why is there shock and awe? If you're the same person that's hey, the offensive line recruiting stinks, it's not where it needs to be, then why are we what do you mean the offensive line's not playing well?
Because it's flying season. Yeah, no,
just
not us.
But listening to you and what you just said, I'm they haven't recruited to a level that I think they should have. And maybe they did this last year with the guys they signed. They think they did. I like Bryce Lovett. I like Najee Harris. I like Rod Kearney. I think they nailed those three.
Yeah, Fletcher Westfall. I like him.
But Fletcher Westfall is a freshman who's not playing because he has mono right now.
Well, you just named a redshirt freshman, so I'm allowed to just name a freshman out of people that I think could get there.
I'm mentioning that he mentioned
conversation, Nick.
Right. But I'm mentioning he's also a freshman who's not playing right now because he has mono. And when do you get cleared to go and play a physical sport like football?
Why don't you tell him, Nick?
The line when you have mono?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Kearney's Kearney's not the same situation. We all agree that Kearney was a better guard than center last show, and he should be playing guard. So moving him back to guard shouldn't be too much of an awkward situation. That should be right at Kearney's wheelhouse. And he's been in the strength and conditioning program. Yep. He's been to a couple springs. That kid in the SEC, from where you recruited him, he should be ready to go. If the offensive line is this bad, a guy that's coming in with Kearney's talent should be ready to go as a sophomore in some capacity, brother. That's just my take.
I like him. I've been campaigning to move him back to guard for a hot minute. I think that's the spot, and I think he should be your starter.
Yeah, 100%. Who was the starters in the scrimmage?
The three on the left that and then George and BCD, Crenshaw Dixon.
All right, I'm gonna tell you something about Damian George. That's why I knew that Nick Saban should probably retire, because when he said Damian George was one of the better offensive linemen on the Bama team when he transferred, I said after seeing him play last year, I was like, yeah, Saban's losing it.
Well, if he was so good, then you wouldn't have sat him, right? Like.
But he told a bold face lie like that to us.
No,
man.
I know. I mean, he also told everybody that he wasn't going to take the Alabama job when he was a Dolphins coach, and
that's
an airplane.
2 hours later. Nathaniel mentioned, so Caden Jones is someone who I didn't really have on my radar at all, but keep hearing good things about. And he missed a little bit of practice time with like a nagging injury, nothing serious. Caden Jones is a guy, so I think Caden Jones, Cam Waits are the ones that are now pushing for playing time reps and potentially a starting job at right tackle. I think, we still have 2 weeks. There's still a lot of practices, another full scrimmage.
Nick, that's not a lot of time. I know you're like, that's 2 weeks. I will say, Caden Jones is in my personal doghouse. I was in my road to glory, and he. Oh no! I broke off a 65-yard run, only to be called back on a holding.
Oh man!
You know,
I'm going to blame it on coaching. He was coached improperly on his PlayStation 5.
Yeah. All right, you got to pick somebody to guard. You know what I'm saying? Your new daughter, Nick. She's sitting in the crib. You got to get somebody to guard. Either Damian George or Gene DeLance.
Oh, geez.
Shotgun. Me and a shotgun.
I saw.
That's who's guarding my daughter. Me and a shotgun.
No, I mean, Cam Waits. I hope him or Caden figures it out. I've seen enough of Damian George, and no slight to him. While there's a little slight to him, but I don't think he's SEC caliber offensive lineman. I just don't see it. So hopefully one of the young boys figure it out.
I mean, he worked his ass off. When I was there talking with like Tyler Miles and Jake Sankel, they were raving about him, and like it's tough. He came to them. Obviously, he like as much as we talked about him, and as much as the numbers show it, the tape shows it, like. He realized, hey, I did not play well enough at tackle. He came to the coaching staff and was like, can I try guard? Like maybe the footwork wasn't there, maybe the speed. When you're playing tackle, you've got 9 techniques lining up halfway, past the slot receiver and just running past you. But he knew that like, hey, it's going to take a lot of commitment to completely change your body because now you're not worried about the speed of the 9 techniques, but you've got a nose tackle who weighs 330 who's hitting you right in the mouth right away. And you've got to get upper body strength, shoulder strength, your pushing motion. He did an incredible job, dedicated himself, changed his body completely. I just don't know. And from what I've heard, it's not working out. And to me, the proof is that you're cross-training Rod Kearney to potentially be a starter there. I think the world of Rod. Rod looks like $1 million. Does not look like an offensive lineman at all. Looks fantastic. He's another guy who works his ass off. There is no spring break for him. It's spring break is going down somewhere and spending the entire week, working out, lifting, doing lineman drills. So
coaches got to develop, brother. Like talent is there. Coaches have got to develop the position.
It's tough to be here 3 years in. Right. And I know that there's transition classes and everything else. And I know they try to get some starters out of the offensive line or for the offensive line in the transfer portal. You have to have mutual interest, right? We're just getting to a point where you've invested a lot of money, $1.5 million a year in salaries that you need to start seeing that development. And it just starts to be concerning, right? I think that's where I'm at, right? I think we were concerned going into the Napier regime that the offensive line was in tough shape. There's been a couple guys that they've recruited that I think there's some excitement about, but now we're in year 3, and at some point you've got to figure out solutions and not excuses.
Yeah, but I had a buddy hit me up today after I wrote that thing about the offensive line. He was like, "Are you getting people hating on you for this?" I'm like, "No, this is what I've been saying since the spring. I've been pretty consistent with my opinion on the offensive line. Again, it's just my opinion. It's probably a little more informed than the average fan, but it's just an opinion. It could be wrong.
I mean,
What's
we'll see.
Is like what's frightening is it's hard to stay healthy. So if nobody's beating Damian George out clearly, or nobody's beating whoever's slacking out clearly, beating them out, right? Like if they go down, like who's the backups? And it's like attrition's damn near impossible to keep a 100% healthy O line. But one step at a time. Defense is usually ahead of the offense. I gotta give you the coach speak. So defense is definitely usually ahead of the offense, and we'll see how it goes when the season starts, because it's 2 things we all been waiting for to see if we get a pass rush and an offensive line. And if either one of those groups do well in camp, we all still gonna be like curious if we got better, right? So we're not gonna find out till game 1 versus Miami if we have a better pass rush or if we have an offensive line worth a squat, because game 1, Miami gonna put the offensive
Miami's
line.
got guys too on the
Yeah, Miami's got guys, especially on the defensive line. Yeah, fortunately,
Okay.
their cornerbacks leave a little bit to be desired. But
Yeah.
no, I mean, if you can't get the ball in the air, then it'll be a tough situation. Anything else on the offensive side of the ball, guys?
I think Arlis Boardingham had a good scrimmage.
Yeah.
We'll get a chance to talk to him and Hayden Hansen tomorrow. I think those 2 guys are probably clearly the 1-2. I don't know how deep you go into that tight end room. Like I said before, Keon Zipper is not the same player he was pre-injury. I know he mentioned it on the timeline that it was way more than just an ACL tear, and it's taken him more than a year to come back. But doesn't look like the same player, which is unfortunate. It's not his fault. You had a bad injury and things happen. I still think Amir Jackson's gonna be a dude, gonna be a player. I just don't know how much we see him this year. I kind of almost like think he reminds me a lot of Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts came in from Pennsylvania, and I remember he came in
Carolina.
No,
Okay.
not North Carolina. Pretty sure it's Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Yeah. My bad.
But he came in, and I remember his first year being like, "Why is he at wide receiver?" And it was literally just working on like his footwork and his technique and all this stuff. But they spent a lot of time just working on that. Amir Jackson is spending a ton of time learning how to block. And listen, he's not going to be the guy that you're going to ask to get, put his hand in the dirt on the goal line. He's going to be a dude that can catch 40 balls a year at some point and be a weapon like that. But I think it'll be, probably next year before we really see him. But he looks fantastic in terms of being a receiver and a gigantic target for a quarterback.
What's up with Andy Jean? Is it precautionary that he was out, or what injury is he fighting with this camp? Because I know we talking about.
No, I think he's been okay. Andy played a little bit in the scrimmage.
Okay.
It was a hamstring in spring that kept him out. And that's just kind of the way hamstrings go. Like he was supposed to come back and you do something and it re-aggravates. Hamstrings, you kind of just gotta let it rest until it's like fully healthy. But I think Andy Jean's I've been a big Andy Jean fan. I think I probably went too far comparing him to like Van Jefferson.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Antonio Callaway.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that take. He just got to stay healthy. But as far as like I see your comparison, especially with the route running. It's not a bad comparison.
He's clinical as a route runner.
For sure.
Just gotta stay healthy. And like I said, it's just a deep room. It went from a room where like I was heading into the spring being like Florida has to get guys in the wide receiver room. It's critical not because I didn't like Andy Jean or Aiden Mizell. It was just like you've got to get guys who can come in and compete right away. And I think we're just projecting with Andy and we're projecting with Aiden. And I wanted them to get guys who were proven and had veteran experience and could come in and play right away. And they've done that. I think Florida completely rebuilt the wide receiver room, and it went from a position in December that I was worried about for this season to one where I'm like, yeah, I'm good. The wide receiver room is absolutely fine. They're going to be fine. They're not going to hold Florida back at all.
That's what's frustrating. Offensive line is our weakest group on the entire team, especially on offense. Like I think
it affects everything else.
Yeah, it just makes everything go. But skill position, running back, receivers, quarterback, gonna take care of the ball. Like you have a good little recipe to put up. You know what I'm saying? Nice little potluck in lunch, but somebody's gonna bring the potato salad with some raisins in it, man.
Yeah, but I think real quick, Dan. I think like, if you can just get through this year, and if Billy can get through this year, like now those guys who are freshmen, redshirt freshmen, Rod Kearney will be a redshirt sophomore. You get Jake Slaughter potentially back for a redshirt senior year. If Austin Barber comes back for a redshirt senior year, a junior Najee Harris, like this room could turn into a strength in 25 based on the experience they'll get this year. And I'm not saying you need to throw this year, throw the baby out with the bathwater this year, but like there's some guys I think that you should be trying to develop this year by getting them game reps. Rod Kearney being one of them. Cam Waits is a guy who can come back. Caden Jones is a guy who you'll have for another 2-3 years.
Yep.
If it's close with those guys, I'm going with the younger ones. And that's just
even if it's not close, bro. George is terrible. Like just put them out there. What's the worst can happen, man? Like they whip. Like to be honest with you just got to get reps. Right, if George is an older guy that isn't showing like he's gonna get drafted or anything like that, he's a liability at this point. You got to put the young boys out there to like get reps and get prepared for the next year. I just don't see it. We'll see how it all plays out offensive line wise, but I'm not. I want to see Kearney break that huddle, snap one, and not Damian George. Man, this is where I'm at with it. I've seen enough.
All right, let's get to the defensive side of the ball. Before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to our friends over at Game Time Sidekick. Somebody tagged us today. Let us know that they got one.
Darius.
GameTimeSidekicks.com. Great cups, vacuum sealed for cheaper than what you're going to find for some of the other brands that are out there. A lot of University of Florida options, a lot of options for some other schools out there as well. Really great product. I use them consistently. This one has lasted me, 3 years and still is perfect. So go check them out, GameTimeSidekicks.com. Stadium 15 will get you 15% off of your order. Not just because they're a sponsor of the show, but very, very, very quality product. And I think that you'll be very impressed with what you get. GameTimeSidekicks.com, Stadium 15 at checkout. Defensive side of the ball. Obviously, we talked about the Jamari Lyons injury early on in the show today. Nick, what else can you share about the defensive line from the scrimmage?
Yeah, I think defense, to me, I'm cautious. Whenever I say something positive, I think we run with it because I rarely do, right? So I think the defense is going to be significantly better than they were last year. I really like the portal additions they've made. It was not just getting, I think, quality depth, quality players, but getting veteran experience. I think the one that I'm most drawn to and think the highest of right now is Asa Turner. I mentioned that, how having his veteran leadership and the way he plays, he comes downhill. He's not afraid to tackle. Played last year in 7 games. He made sure to only play 4 in the regular season, but then playing with, after 2 surgeries on his right hand and playing with like a club on his left, still not afraid to hit people. I think he's going to be huge for the secondary. I think TJ Searcy needs to have a big year. I've really enjoyed watching him progress because when he came in, I thought this is just a guy who plays on 3rd and 7 or longer. And he really has developed himself into a guy who I think can play 1st through 3rd downs. Okay. You're going to have to figure out some depth, and how to replace Jamari Lyons. We kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. Yeah. But I think Jason Marshall's playing back to kind of the freshman level that we saw him at. I think Devin Moore, if healthy, is the best cornerback on the team. And Jordan Castell, it's kind of like you kind of take your lumps when you play 680 snaps as a freshman and you have some freshman moments, but now you are a sophomore only on paper in my mind because you are much more of a veteran than a sophomore. And I think Florida has made so many improvements I think Ron Roberts comes in and helps, but also the linebacker room. I was trying to think earlier today when I was like this confident in a Florida linebacker room. And I know that they're young and they might make some mistakes because they're young. And like it's Shamar James, who's a junior, and then a bunch of really young guys. But I think those really young guys are super talented with Pup and Childs and Miles Graham. I'm probably having to go back to like when Jared
Tony
Davis was
Morrison.
in the linebacker room. Yeah.
Jared Davis and
Back
Tony Morrison.
So I'm really high on Florida's defense, and I think the biggest thing for me will be, can you get pressure? And that's a staple of Ron Roberts' defenses is affecting the quarterback and getting turnovers. Two things Florida did not do last year, and that's going to be a huge factor for the defense. But I'm very high on Florida's defense this year.
Like that.
We could use them this year, right? I think they cost us at least 2 or 3 games last year. We couldn't stop a nosebleed, so that side of the ball could definitely like pick up the slack on some offensive line things that we were having issues with, and not being able to take the offense to another level. But I think the offense did good enough for us to win a lot of games last year, but the defense just didn't show up. Sure tacklers, I've been hearing good things about DJ Douglas as well. The guys on the team been saying he's a physical force. You got to keep an eye on him when he's on the field. He's coming down, smacking things. Also, Taqueezy, how you say his name? Just been seeing and hearing good things. Taquez.
Let me just
Did you
double
say
check.
Jaqueezy?
I think it's Trequezy.
If I see it, I can say it. If I see it, I got it. Yeah.
It's supposed to be your bag.
And it is my bag, bro. Black name is my bag. I just don't know if
supposed to be your bag, and you said Jaqueezy.
Type it out, Dan. I got you. Type it out.
So I would normally say it's Trequez, but the WEZE is throwing me off.
Jaqueezy. That's what Jaqueezy is what I thought. I heard say
Young Weezy, baby.
Bridges, DJ Douglas, Asa Turner, like everybody that came in on the defensive side in the portal, I think we hit a home run on that side of the ball with guys that can come and bring production. Tackling is going to be key. It's just only hiccup right now is the Lions situation. Other than that, I think the defense is going to come in solid, get us some stops this year, and we'll be able to do some things and get the ball back, which should affect pace as well. You know, Billy spoke about pace today, and the offense being, picking up the urgency, because that 2-minute offense was definitely something that was sticking us in the side as well. But looking forward to just a good defense. I don't need to be over the top. I don't need to be super elite. Just come in and get us some stops. Be a formidable unit.
Triquez.
Triquez.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah, shout out to me.
That's what I said.
No, I think the easy part, Dan said that earlier in another show, and I think that's
you guys were saying it last week. I always thought it was Triquez, but
I said Triquez. Maybe try.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to
I like Silks, little Wheezy F baby back there wearing 7.
You got to throw a little twist on it, man.
And the F is for Florida.
Yeah.
He made the F is for Florida. I like that. He made a crazy interception. He was guarding Tank Hawkins on some one-on-one action. He made a one-handed pick on the clip that the social media team put out.
Did you add me in that one too, or
why would I add you in that? Were you positive about it? No, man. We just trying something out. We threw Hawkins a fade. If we ever throw Hawkins a fade in real life, then I'm firing everybody, bro. Because personnel, you're just not the guy. You sit on the fade route.
Just a question.
Okay. It could have been a better thrown ball.
Okay.
I wouldn't blame Hawkins on that. Walk back your Hawkins take now, bro, because he's gonna go crazy. Walk it back, bro.
What was the take that was so egregious?
You say he's not gonna play that much. I think he's gonna go crazy.
He's gonna play that much.
Okay.
I think we need to set an over under here.
Yeah.
The over under. So let's look at this with actual
facts here.
So
let's judge it off of Trey Wilson's production last year. How about that?
The game,
absolutely way under.
The game will be much different this year than last year with the new timing rules that they have. But the Gators averaged. Let's pull out the calculator here. All right. So Gators average, they had 811 snaps. They average, we'll say 68 snaps per game. Passing the ball, they passed I don't know, 390 into. Sorry, I know you guys don't want this quick math, but I think it gives you some ideas. So 32. So just a hair under 50% of the time they were throwing the ball. How many snaps is he getting a game, or how many targets is he getting a game?
I just think
Well, what are we setting the over under at? Snaps per game at 5, targets at 2. That's not a lot, but what do we want to do here? You guys have put
the over under
your
setting is why I'm saying I don't think he plays a ton. 5 snaps a game is not a lot. That's 60 snaps.
Nick, you're getting angry for no reason. I'm asking you to help set the line. I'm just giving you where they were. I'm letting you. This is a beef that you guys have. The loser has to pay me $100.
7. Dan's collecting no matter what. The rent is due.
Yeah.
And Dan's not accepting a late check.
Yeah, I got hit with
7.5. 7.5. So if you're getting,
a little bit more than 10% of
that would be playing. To me, that would be him playing a lot. That would exceed what I think he will play this.
Yeah, I mean that would be.
I just think you got to find a way to get him the ball. Give me 2 targets a game. 2 targets a game, I think he could get.
All right, so want to set the over under at 2.5?
That's not a lot.
That for a freshman, that's a lot. 2 targets a game is a lot.
Nick, I mean that is not a lot, but when you look at the Gators, right, receiving, there's 1, 2, 3, and the third's Montreal Johnson that got more than 2.5 snaps a game. 1 just graduated.
I think it's a lot for a freshman, right?
So he plays more. So he plays more and gets more targets than Andy Jean or Aiden Mizell did as freshman.
Aiden Mizell got 2 receptions, and Andy Jean had 6.
He's just a different. I'm not saying he's better than them as a freshman or anything like that. Andy Jean was battling injury and a lot of other things. I just think he's like the reason Trey Wilson was able to get certain snaps is because of the style of play he plays with, and they play with a similar style. So I just think it's a style of like Andy Jean is not a jet sweep guy. He's not a guy that you just want to get bubble screens to get busy. Tank is that type of dude, man, where he got world-class speed, and you just want to find a way to get him the ball and see if he can make something shake. It could have turned out early in the season where maybe he's not productive with those couple of targets that they're trying to get him, and they move away from him to let him develop a little bit. But I think out the gate, bro, you gotta find ways to get him the ball, man. It's just like some Chris Rainey, those type of guys, bro, that could go Jeff Demps, those guys that go 0 to 100 real quick. You got to find a way to get him the ball, especially if you don't have an explosive offense or a vertical offense, I would say.
So 2.5 average. Nick, you're under. Silk, you're over?
Yeah, I think he gets at least 2, man. I'll go 2.5. We can put that over on that 2.5. I like it.
At least 3. Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it, folks.
Nick's usually better at buy and sell, so he may be right. But
Nick, I don't know if Nick totally knew what he was getting himself into. He said that's not a lot, but then we only found 3 players on the roster that had more than that. So one of them was a running back. So maybe in this offense it is a lot. Hey, they spread the ball out a lot. There's going to be a lot of different people. So
I think it's just going to be random, and then as teams catch on. But I think it's going to be most of the country is not looking for Tank Hawkins to get these targets and be some explosive guy. This is Florida cooking. We know about him, but I don't think there's any game or any defensive coordinator going to be gaming and setting game plans around Tank Hawkins. They'll be putting that attention on a Trey Wilson. And I just think if Trey Wilson's out of the game, you can still get some of that off without the attention. And that's just like my spin on why he probably gets those 2 targets. When you spell a guy like Trey Wilson, at some point, if he taps the helmet, it's a good opportunity to catch the defense sleeping with Tank.
Yeah, I think at that point, it just becomes a matter of where he is as a developed player, and then what the rest of that offensive line looks like, and what the other guys that are out blocking for him look like as well. So definitely excited to see what that might look like on the defensive side of the ball. Anything else that you guys want to touch on? I just want to make sure we cover it all.
JP.
Yeah, JP getting his tweet, he getting his comments off.
Yeah. He said that he was going to get back on Twitter or get on Twitter. Still the best. If you guys have never seen his picture, it's still the best one on the internet.
No, that picture's crazy, man.
Bro.
Nick, where any update on kick returner, punt returner?
Chim's worked a little bit. Eugene Wilson, Tank, TJ.
At what? Both?
Both, yeah.
Yeah.
I like all those names.
They're not doing the NFL rule in college, right? That's just the college rule for now.
No. We actually were talking to Billy about it. The rule with they did it in the NFL because you were getting more balls returned. Billy said
you were
today,
not getting any balls returned. Yeah.
Billy said today they're at 15%. Like they're not getting major injuries in the college level. 15% of the balls kicked are getting returned.
Gotcha.
Which, listen, you've got these college kickers and you're kicking it from what? They kick from the 30?
Yeah. 35. They kicked from the 35. The NFL is 30, I believe.
Yeah. Like, I don't think you need the rule in college because 85% of the time you're getting a touchback.
Yeah. Well, that's what the NFL changed it.
I think they changed it to get more, but like it also looks so weird.
Yeah, I don't mind it though. I
like
think
it.
I didn't know what to expect because I didn't watch preseason game. I know I'm a bad dude. I didn't watch preseason game until Friday night when the Dolphins were playing and there was the Texans were playing. I was at greatest sports bar in Tampa, Hattricks on Friday night watching a little bit. I got used to
it. Establishment, man.
Yeah, it's a fantastic place. That's right, Corey. You were there with us another time, but I didn't mind it. Right. I think it adds the wrinkle back into the game, and I mean Devin Hester's in the Hall of Fame because of that rule. So I'm curious to see if that makes it to the college game at all. Probably a few years away.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah.
Because what, the XFL? Was it the XFL or the UFL that was doing this? I think the XFL.
The XFL. I loved the XFL's instead of a coin toss. Hey, get your fastest dude, put him on the goal line, and we are running headfirst at each other for a ball.
That was old XFL. Yeah, that was super old.
That's
XFL.
electric.
That's back when they had cheerleader cameras and stuff. It was an egregious time.
Take your coin and throw it into a jukebox. Let me get Tank Hawkins and whoever your fastest dude is. And there you go. There's your over 2.5 snaps a game. Tank Hawkins running out to get the ball at the 50-yard line.
Yeah. I don't know. I just want exciting plays. I don't want it to just be at least it'd be something when I guess they're not on CBS anymore and ESPN, not going to do the kickoff commercial,
Buddy, ESPN is paying significantly more than CBS was paying.
That's what I mean. But if we're going to do that, at least give me 11 seconds of excitement. You know what I mean? Probably something that a lot of people.
3:30 ABC games will be 3 hours and 45 minutes, 4 hours long.
The ESPN ones, yeah.
ABC's got the 3:30.
Oh, that's right. Did you hear the new ABC song? We can't play it because I don't need to get hit another copyright claim. But did you hear it?
It is Luke Combs, or maybe it was the SC Network when I heard. It's a Luke Combs cover of a Tom Petty song, "Running Down a Dream."
Yeah, no, I just didn't love the audio and everything else. I like Luke Combs and all that, but what's Jelly Roll doing? The ESPN
Jelly Roll
doing something.
Bro, shout out to Jelly Roll.
Shout out to Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll, man.
Dan, JB asked. I'll answer this real quick. The Matt question up there.
Oh, yeah. So JB asks, Nick, can you explain the mat for all the bozos on Twitter? So this is round 3 of Matt Talk. Nick.
The mat is a way to get people. Listen, it's embarrassing. What's more embarrassing, having a mat and being organized?
Go ahead, man. Explain it.
Sending 9 guys out to block a field goal.
I'll pull up your tweet, Nick.
The mat, depending on where you are in the field and what happens on 3rd down, what happens on 4th down, you might be changing personnel. It's a mat that's got 10 circles on it. In theory, you only need 10 because your kicker and punter doesn't need to be on the mat, and you would be sending out your kicker and or punter. They also have another mat. There's one mat that I took a picture of it. It was in an area where we couldn't go to, so I had to zoom in and try to get a picture of it. There was another mat with 11, which would probably be for, hey, if we're on defense and we're doing a field goal block or a punt block, we would use that one. But if you're going to send your punter or your kicker out, you just need 10 people standing on the mat. They use it at the high school level, use it at the college level. NFL teams use it. I get it. It's ripe for jokes. It's ripe for jokes, but like I was literally calling for this last year. On our show, I looked up the local Dick's Sporting Goods. You can kind of see at the top right corner, there's a second mat. That mat had 11 on it. And it's just a way you can move it as the special teams coordinator. I think Joe Houston's kind of going to be in charge of this. It's ripe for jokes. I get it. And rival fans are going to troll about it. You're trolling yourself.
Care about them.
But
trolling yourself. But like, I would rather you have this and get 11 on the field every single time on special teams than not have this and have us sitting there counting guys on the replay being like, well, that was 9. Why they only have 9? It's just an simple, easy solution to a problem that was very easily correctable that we had to deal with all last year.
No, man, I'm just at the football fields like 5 days a week with my son, man. I've yet to see one of these mats, man, that be able to count the little kids. And these are kids, man. So I just think like you're hiring professionals at a very high level, and eventually they got to know how to count to 11, man. The mat, I'm not worried about rivals, trolling, or anything like that. It's just unbelievable. Thank you for explaining that, JB. I hope that works for the idiots on Twitter.
Shout out to Spence. Spence, former equipment manager. Florida has used the mat in the past.
Spencer's a former equipment manager?
I think so. If that's the Spence I'm thinking about.
That's Jerkin, Spencer. I don't think Spencer running cross country.
There's no
Wrong Spencer.
What about
that guy Spence?
Let me ask you a quick question. What's the DB room, the cornerback room behind Devin Moore and Marshall? What have they look like? Hakeem Jackson and all them boys. They making noise?
Yeah, I think 2 and 3 or 3 and 4, excuse me, would be Jakeem Jackson 3, Deshaun Johnson 4. Cormani had a off-field incident that resulted in an eye injury, which is what kept him out of practice last week, kept him out of the scrimmage.
Oh, what?
It's just 18, 19, 20-year-old kids being kids. An eye injury.
That was nerve going or something?
An eye injury.
Fazine?
No, he didn't do anything wrong.
I feel like Nick knows. He's just not telling us. We'll talk about it after.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'll tell you after the show. Anytime
I
I mention Cormani's name, it blows up. So that's as much as you're getting on the show.
Yeah, stay tuned for next week where I break the news about what happened to Cormani McLean.
There you go.
I'm just kidding.
But I think those are the 4. I think Cormani could be a guy that plays, not going to play a ton. He's doing a lot better. Like, I think Florida's coaching staff thought it was egregious that Dion threw him out there as a freshman when he was 6'2", 155 pounds.
Dude, he looked. I know he's added what, like 12 pounds, you said?
He's at like 170, 175. He's added a bunch of good weight.
Yeah, he's still so thin, though.
Yeah.
Not that you have to be like big and bulky.
You don't need him.
I mean,
but they probably want him.
Lanky frame.
He's got long arms, long legs.
Did he get pushed in there? Huh?
No.
No, we're not gonna get it out of Nick. So he didn't play. They have what, 2 more scrimmages or just one?
One more scrimmage. Saturday the 17th, and then
I'll find out. I'll let you know.
Yeah, go ahead. It's not gonna be
how many
I mean, I wouldn't be mad if somebody punched him in the eye. Like this, then we got a real camp going on, man. Somebody get punched in the eye, you know. A little accountability.
So Nick, we're through. Is it 9 practices plus the scrimmage, so 10? We were at 9 on Thursday.
You have to go back and count. So yeah, the scrimmage was the 10th. They did not practice today. They'll practice tomorrow.
Okay, cool. So 10, and they have 15 total?
No, I think you're gonna have more. I don't know what the limit is for fall camp. 15 is spring.
Okay. I was just wondering because of the scrimmage being next Sunday, how much they were going to do, or Saturday. But then it starts like season prep, not
I
like
think
fall
their
camp
season
anymore.
prep starts a week from Wednesday.
Okay. All right. So maybe that's the culmination of fall, get a couple days off, and then you're into season.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think they break camp like Monday after the scrimmage. They scrimmage Saturday, Sunday is all like film review.
Yeah.
Or they get Sunday off and then they do film review Mondays. So like
they might give them a couple days off because school will be out too.
Yeah. Well, Florida hasn't started. I think Florida starts in 10 days. Florida doesn't start school, I think, until like the 20th, 21st, 22nd, around there.
Yeah, probably the 21st.
The 21st, I think, is a Wednesday.
Yeah, that's
and I think they do get like a day or two off, like for the first 2 days of class, and then when they come back, it's Miami install.
Really nice.
I want to give a quick shout out because I love his name, Matthew, former chat professional and ice cream man. I need some more context there. Was watching High Top Sports. Saw you were live. Listening to you guys Saturday made my job so much easier. Love the content. Thanks, brother. We big fans of those guys over there too. Normally we're not going to be recording at this time, so we appreciate. I know that there's choices that had to be made. A lot of content out there, so appreciate you for watching. What else we got? Any other final commentary on practice, scrimmage, anything else?
Hey, Nathaniel Rogers, we ain't worried about no bang, bro. I'm not worried about no bang, bro. I'm about to start talking greasy, dog.
Not my job to block it.
The Miami trenches is lighting ass, man. I'm gonna be keeping the beam with y'all, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not used to pulling up the SEC trenches. And I'm not believing anything that Mario Cristobal ever puts on the football field. He got to show me. You know what I'm saying? He don't even know how to kneel. They having issues in their camp as well. You know what I'm saying? Consistency with moving the ball on offense. I've been peeping through the hedges a little bit to see what's going on over there. And Miami just got to show me what's up. The secondary is going to be food. I do like that we are going vertical in some of the clips that I'm seeing, and some of the feedback from camp is that we are going vertical. The plays that have been made with Hawkins and Eugene are vertical plays. So I know we usually throwing tunnel and screens when the offensive line is struggling, but we are going vertical. And if we're able to go vertical on Miami, we should be fine, man. I'm just worried about more of the season, attrition, and being able to survive a SEC schedule with our depth chart. So we'll see how all that plays out. But game one, Miami coming to our building, having to communicate in the swamp with new players everywhere. I think we're going to run down on them folks, man. It's going to be like when Utah came, in my opinion.
Nick.
I asked,
Yeah, well, go ahead. Is this about the season record?
Yeah, I asked a lot. I asked people to respond to me on Twitter. I have I think over 100 responses here.
You have 37,000 views on the tweet.
Shout out to BT Rypel, 9-3. Lock it in.
We're going to go. I'm going to sort by most liked. 9-3 BT. David Soderquist, speaking of the high top guys, 12-0 respectfully.
Oh, damn, there's 200 replies to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, read them
There's
all.
a lot of people that,
read them all off. We'll be here in an hour and a half, guys.
What's your record there?
Somebody said 2-10.
10-2.
That's just crazy.
Danny Boy Kane, noted celebrity, said 5-7.
See, extra credit for. Let me see. I'll shout him out. This is.
Let's
Ryan.
shout out Matt. Oh, go ahead. One second. Let's shout out Matt, the former chat professional ice cream man. Just got my Beat Miami shirt in the mail, ready to see Florida stick their foot down Miami's throat. Final score 35.
Let's go, Matt.
Yeah. Shout out Matt. Hey, Matt, make sure you hit the subscribe button.
You running down on that, man. I'm not like there's nothing about Mario Cristobal that frightens me whatsoever, man. Every time he speak on the mic, I'd be like, "Yep, it's gonna come down to who can kneel the ball and who can put 11 on the field between him and Billy, bro."
That was still one of my favorite tweets that I ever had. Obviously, it didn't necessarily always work out, but when Mario got there, it was Mario no crystal balls. That was that was just so solid. A lot of 5-7s here.
Well, shout out to Ryan. Looks like Ryan Herbert 22 just showed his work. Showed his absolute work. Went game by game, 8-4. There's your wins. There's your losses. Not just numbers. Showed his work. Did that new math. That's kicking Silk's ass when his son brings it home.
Oh, bro, I don't even try to do that math. I'm gonna be
Do
real.
math. No way.
That's the record I got, man. I gotta say 8 wins, man. We need to get 8 wins. Figure out how to get 8, and everything else to do what it do, man.
Shout out to Heisman.
City if we get those. What Heisman say?
Heisman's at 8-4.
Okay, that's what I'm at with it.
200 responses. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to the engagement on Twitter.
Yeah, you only read off like 6, so them people just wasting. You said you was gonna read them all off on the time.
I mean, we can.
No, that's not.
Somebody said 11.
11. Danny Boy Kane's in my mentions. I just saw that.
Yeah, that's nuts. If you would have been listening about 3 minutes ago, you would have heard me mention that.
I try not to listen to you whenever possible.
Augusta Gator, he did the work too. A lot of people in your mentions.
Listen, I'll tell you this: if Florida goes 8-4, I will go full FSU beat writer and talk about how Kirk Herbstreit is personally victimizing the University of Florida, victimizing and targeting the Florida fan base, and that it's a conspiracy.
Oh, you're ridiculous, bro.
To keep Florida out of the playoff. If Florida goes 8-4, I will say that they should get the 12 seed. Sneaky.
We got talent to go win 8 games, man. It just takes some good. We got talent.
They do. We're also 2-10 on the road, 2-10 away from home in the last 2 years.
Largely due to our defense. Like there's like 3 games that we gave up last year just because of just like goofiness, right?
And they didn't have Tank Hawkins getting 100 catches for 4,000 yards either. So
right,
you gotta add that in.
That big Tank. Make him say, "Oh,
nah."
I got my trolls ready, bro. I just need Tank to do what he do, man.
I don't want any of the smoke. I don't want any of that.
Dude,
I'm blocking you.
I'm blocking you.
I'm blocking you.
If you get a catch for 3 yards and tagging you with it,
I'm blocking you. I'm blocking you. 100%. You're done. You're done.
You have
Matumbo on the timeline.
You have some people in your mentions that really take what you ask them seriously. This guy did a whole graphic.
I like that.
Yeah.
Love the effort. Love the effort.
Yeah, I love the effort. That was
wait, go pull that back up.
PNG files, man.
I'm keeping my game by game picks until either right before game week, but I do not have Texas A&M as a loss.
Yeah, me neither.
No, and not to.
I don't have Florida State no loss either.
I saw Texas A&M just lost their starting running back to an injury. Texas lost C.J. Baxter for the season, and then their backup, their new starter, got injured today too. So it's we never want or wish injuries or hope for injuries for anybody on any team, right? But this is what we were saying about the schedule just overall is there's a lot of conjecture. There's a lot of new things that teams are going to be rolling out this season. A lot of new quarterbacks, 7 or 8 new quarterbacks starting for new teams this year. There's going to be changes. There's going to be the team that you see on paper going into fall camp is going to be vastly different than the team on paper when you play them, right? So, I'm not willing to give up, but I think there's some winnable games here. Matthew, former trap professional ice cream man, we've probably lost 25% of the games to goofiness ever since we've had the thrown shoe losing us the LSU game and ruining our year.
Yeah. I seen a Quincy Wilson at the Olympics. I was like, bro.
Marco at the Olympics.
No, there was a Quincy Wilson running.
The runner. I just saw
I just thought about
Wilson doing a photo.
You thought
shoot.
Quincy Wilson was just like randomly in the crowd?
Yeah, no. I saw Marco Wilson post on Instagram doing a photo shoot in front of the Eiffel Tower today. So I thought that's who he was talking about.
Nice little Euro trip.
All right, boys. Want to wrap up? So, you think about Song of the Week? Let's give a quick shout out to our friends over at Alumni Hall. If you are looking for anything new Florida Gators related for the season, go check out Alumni Hall. The best selection of apparel that you can possibly imagine for the Florida Gator fan in your life. Go check out alumnihall.com or go visit them on Archer Road in Gainesville, right past that Chick-fil-A there. Polo shirts, golf apparel and accessories, grilling and tailgate supplies, men's, women's, young and old, anything in between. alumnihall.com or Alumni Hall in Gainesville. Gainesville, Florida.
Hey,
Corey?
man. For the song, I'm going to get Mark Hummy, Bad Hands. Some boom pap, old school style hip hop, but, you know. Some
Dance face.
Sorry.
Bad
You
Hands.
guys don't know, I'm also the scribe for this show. And I'm going to need that one more time.
Mark Hummy, MACHHOMMY. Nice little jingle and tune for the people. Tailgate.
I'll share that up with you after. Yeah.
I got you. I'll send it over to you. I'll screenshot and send it to you. Tailgate 831 in Gainesville. Y'all pull up on us, man. I have the link for the tailgate in my bio. Channing Crowder's pulling up. Ahmad Black, Stephen Harris, Jordan Scarlett, Kevin Taylor, Zach Carter. Plenty more names to be named. Some Hurricane players. Lamar Richards, my co-host on Flow Factory. We got some bigger names that we're going to announce like the week of. We just chilling a little bit, but pull up. Biggest tailgate in the city. If you're looking for parking as well, if you don't want to tailgate, we also have parking along the street of 23rd Street, which is a 9-minute walk to the stadium. But a lot of prizes, a lot of games, live DJ. We're going to have the noon games on TV there. Plenty of food, plenty of drinks. Spur Your Beer is going to be in the building. Not a building, it's a tailgate, but you get the vibes. Pull
In
up.
the tent, yeah.
Yeah.
Rob asked you a question, Corey, that I had too. What do you think about yakking to kids?
Man, that was crazy. I'm be honest with you. Like, I just thought that was super irresponsible. I don't want to get into criticizing people because I seen the video of Kodak with the kids with the pounces and I just thought that was just like super crazy. He had liquor in his hand. I'm just, you got to protect the kids, man. I think just imaging and everything, like we just got to be responsible with what we put around the children in every capacity. I don't care if they're celebrity, they're stars, whoever they may be. People just need to be doing responsible things around kids and in the right settings, man, because they're impressionable. So wasn't really feeling a big Kodak fan, but just wasn't feeling the environment that was set for the kids. So.
Well said. Well said. All right, boys, we'll get out of here. Appreciate everybody for watching and listening late into the evening. Thanks for all the super chats. Thanks for the likes. Before you leave, please hit the like and subscribe button. Please share. Thanks for everybody for keeping the comment section entertaining as always. And we will see you guys same corner, same time next week.